at it again. All right, seeing a place to be. Ric Serritella here, going all access with our special guest, Roquan Smith, all-pro linebacker, Baltimore Ravens. Oh, by the way, he's got a little bit of dog in him, too. What's happening, Roquan? How are you today?
Doing well, man. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I know you're feeling nice and refreshed, traveling a little bit this summer, getting ready for training camp. I know you joined our good friend Jonathan Abram, who was on the show last week, talking about your USO Tour, something that the NFL has partnered with the USO over 50 years now in the making. I think they've donated over $6 million to the cause, and you had a chance firsthand to go out there to Japan and experience this whole program. I mean, talk to us about it.
Yeah, going out with the USO out to Okinawa, Japan. It was an amazing experience for myself and John, who was there with me as well. Just being out there supporting the troops, the service members, their families, and just knowing the impact that it had on those guys and their kids and whatnot. Eh, it's 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 pretty mind-boggling, and I'm just grateful that I was able to be a part of it and would love to do it anytime, any year. And I can't thank the NFL enough, nor the USO for having me a part of it because it was something special and something I'll always cherish.
Yeah, I know you spent a whole week out there in Japan. You guys had a Play 60 NFL event. I know uh, people may not realize this. Pro football in Japan is exploding right now. American pro football, there's a huge thirst for it. So I'm happy that you had a chance to go over there with Jonathan Abram. And I guess he had to lean on you a little bit, Roquan, as a tour guide, right? You're like a veteran now traveling out to Japan.
Yeah, for sure. But John was definitely a guy that started traveling a good bit. He was actually in Japan around the same time I was there early throughout the year. So he hadn't been to Okinawa. So that was a little different for both of us being on that island and whatnot. But he had been to Tokyo before, but he just stuck to the Disney stuff. So he didn't really get out and do much while he was there.
Okay, okay. Well, have we learned Japanese yet? Have we learned the language?
Uh, no, I don't really know the language besides konnichiwa, like and little things like that. Sama said like excuse and things of that nature. So I would love to learn it. I was out there with a couple of Americans who spoke it fluently, and I was like, wow, I was like really impressed. So it's definitely a unique language and something if it was easy to learn, I think I would definitely sign up for it. But it would definitely take a lot of time out of my day to pick up on Japanese.
Yeah, right. They say it's a hard language to learn, and you've got enough stuff to pick up, like the new playbook. I know that's something transitioning from Chicago to Baltimore last year, kind of getting your feet wet. And I do got to say, though, first of all, what an emotional year, right? Last year, that whole transition, Chicago dealing off the veterans, Robert Quinn, yourself, and a whole emotional time. Then you come to Baltimore, first game, you're laying the lumber. I remember it vividly. It was like you were almost born to be a Baltimore Raven. The fit seems so natural now with a whole year under your feet coming in training camp. I know I read some comments that you mentioned you feel like you're going to have your best season personally yet. Why is that, Roquan?
Absolutely. Yeah, Maze, I'm grateful to be in Baltimore. Very grateful for my time in Chicago as well. And yeah, the season was definitely a whirlwind. Starting out playing my first 8, 9 games of the year in Chicago, and then on Halloween getting up and traded. So it was definitely something different for myself. And then seeing some of my guys who I really looked up to, started with Khalil Mack well back in the spring, then Robert, who I was very close with, looked up to. Such an amazing dude. And then getting to Baltimore, man, yeah, being able to pick up on a new playbook right away. Very grateful for the staff there, the DC linebackers coach, everyone for helping me fine tune those little details when I was there. And it flew by, man. But I'm excited for this year because I know there's a lot of special things in place for us in Baltimore, and has a great group of guys around us, and that we're eager to get the job done by any means necessary. And I can feel that, sense that when I was in OTAs this year. So I think it's going to be definitely something special. And I definitely think, like I said before, I think this is going to be, if not my best year, because I just feel like just even out there in OTAs, how slow things are moving for me, how far ahead I am on things, and like at the tail end of the season last year too, it's probably the most comfortable I've ever been. Where it's like not thinking at all, just knowing like, okay, either one or two things are about to happen right here and just like anticipating it and then just like letting it go. And I think when you plan that way, a lot of great things can happen for you.
Yeah, big expectations in Baltimore this year. I gotta say, I like what they did in the offseason. They must have found some money bags laying around. They got you freshly minted. Lamar's now paid. They bring in OBJ. Talk about just veteran leadership experience and big time playmakers. That's got to feel good.
Absolutely. There's a nice mix of veterans and young guys on the team, and you definitely need veterans on the team to win in this league. As like I've seen across the league for many years since I've been in, most of the teams you look at, it's veteran-led teams, which you sprinkle in your younger guys and whatnot. So I'm very excited about that. We have a lot of great pieces. Starting with Lamar, locking him in. You have OBJ on the outside. You have Nelson Aguilar, Bateman, the Rook, Zay. Then you can't forget about J.K. Dobbins when he's healthy. I feel like one of the best backs in the league. And Gus, I think his work speaks for itself. And what a good O line we have too, from Ronnie on over to Morgan Moses, and with Tyler, young center in there that acts like a 10-year pro. So, and then on the defensive side of the ball, man, I think we're loaded at every position. Linebacker, got a lot of big guys up front on the D line that help keep me and PQ clean. And with Marlon on the outside and Hamilton and Marcus, man, I'm excited. I think the sky's the limit for us. And as long as we stay healthy, man, and play to our full potential, I don't see anybody, messing with us if we stick to that and not get complacent.
Loaded, 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 and it's going to be a tough division too. We'll try to get that in, but you mentioned the veteran leadership, and I got a chance. I'm here in New Jersey. I had a chance to get to know OBJ very well. Was around him quite often, especially in practices. I believe he's one of the most misunderstood individuals in the National Football League because every time I've witnessed him in action, especially practice, he goes harder than anybody I've seen, and he raises the competitiveness and atmosphere. I'm just curious if you kind of noticed the same thing with the brief time together with OBJ.
With OBJ, I've been a fan of his game for a while, and actually, I've heard that many times before how he's like probably one of the most misunderstood individuals in the league. And like talking with guys who played with him in New York, played with him in Cleveland and whatnot, and how he busts his tail day in and day out. But people don't seem to like pick up on those things normally. It's more of like what they see from the outside, let others like formulate their opinion as opposed to actually seeing someone and getting to know that person and watching how that person work. So I'm excited for him this year. Healthy OBJ is a scary OBJ, and we all know the type of things that he can do once he's healthy. So I'm very excited that he's on our team, and Lamar got a guy like him to throw to as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially Todd Monken coming in with the new offense, and I do got to ask you about the rookie Zay Flowers because him now playing opposite of OBJ. What's your first impressions of that young man?
For sure. Todd Monken, yeah, I'm very excited about Monk as well, watching him over at Georgia, leading my dogs to back to back and like seeing some of his play calling there, man, and like thinking about it, looking at it from now. I used to be watching it on some Saturdays before games and stuff. I'm like, wow, man, some of these things this guy's doing, if they were implemented in the league, it would get a lot of people because like some of the stuff was like, I'm like, oh wow, I will have to look out for that. And then yeah, Zay Flowers, man, I'm very happy we drafted him. And when I tell you a guy that can like stop on a dime, change directions like it's nobody's business, like I haven't seen many people do it like him in and out of his cuts. So I'm excited to see him get the ball in his hand and let his playmaking skills be released because he there was a lot of doubters for him saying too small and too this, too that, but I think he's willing to prove all the doubters wrong.
Yeah, and on the defensive side, Trenton Simpson now you get to play kind of the mentor role. We had him as the highest rated linebacker coming out of the draft, and he falls, I think, to the second round, but lands in a great spot, and he gets to learn from one of the best now.
Yeah, Simpson, and it's so crazy about him, man. When I tell you, because when we first drafted the guy, I shot him a text, and you could tell hearing his voice, hearing his text, and everything after first meeting him, how eager he is to learn and how bad he wants to be great. So when you got a guy like that with that type of mindset, not cocky, not arrogant, anything along those lines, just eager to learn, do whatever it takes to get the job done, and want to be the best possible teammate he can be, regardless of his role, and listen to everything, take notes on everything. He acts like a pro. And man, I'm happy that we have him, and I'm excited to see how his career turns out because I think if he stick true to what he's been doing and how the process he's been going through, the sky's the limit for him as well.
Yeah, I think he could have a big impact by the end of the season. You mentioned Georgia. I gotta ask because you were kind of like one of the classes that set the tone for a lot of the success that was to follow there after you departed, and now they're going for a three-peat, which is very, very rare to do in the college football universe. Have you been back to Athens? Have you gotten back to the campus at all? Are you still close to the program?
Yeah, still very close to the program down in Athens, and yeah, three-peat is not too normal, but I'm willing to bet the field on Georgia this year with them repeating. Looking at the schedule and just looking at the other competition throughout there, and I know Kirby's going to have those guys rocking and rolling all together, and then Schumann, who coached me as the DC, I know how he is and how much how eager he is to get the guys going and do things by the book. So I'm excited about that, and I think it's going to be a great year. The Dogs, I'm looking forward to the three-peat. I got to get down to Athens a little bit more, but hopefully this year in the SEC championship, I've already looked at it the bye week. I plan to get down there, whoever it is coming from the West. I know the Dogs will be from the East, so I'm excited about that, and I think it's going to be pretty special. And it's very unique that I hear that from Coach Schumann all the time when I text with him. I text with him often about setting the tone as in like, okay, we started this the year that we ended up losing. We wasn't able to bring it home to Natty, even though crazy league we blew, but a story for another day and whatnot. But I'm very excited for the Dogs and what all they have in store, and we're getting the top dogs in the nation. So I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, we're excited. College football, NFL. Last one for you because I believe the AFC North from top to bottom is the toughest division. That's just my opinion. And I really believe it's because of the quarterbacks. When you take a look around, there's no gimmies here. I mean, you guys have Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow with Cincinnati, Kenny Pickett I thought played well as a rookie in Pittsburgh, and then Deshaun Watson with the Cleveland Browns. How do you go week in, week out preparing to match up against these guys? And have you faced all of them before or not yet?
Yeah, I've definitely faced them all before. The Pickett's, the Watson. I've never, even though he's my teammate now, I've never gotten to face Lamar before. And Watson, yeah, I think all of those guys are great quarterbacks, and I definitely think the AFC North is the best division in football right now when you look at it from top to bottom, week in and week out. And I feel like you have to go through the best in order to beat the best. So I think going through that schedule throughout the AFC North and preparing ourselves week in and week out when we're playing the best, and so when the playoff time come, we'll actually know what it takes. And when you go through the fire, you come out a lot better. So I'm excited about it, and from me and my guys, I know we wouldn't want it any other way than it going through everybody's neck and taking what we want. So I'm excited about it, and I think the defense, when I talk with those guys, we're all just eager to get back out there together and show the world exactly what we can do.
Oh, I'm sorry. That reminds me. I real quick here. I read that you and Ray Lewis hooked up a couple times at the Pro Bowl event, and then one more time. Is he kind of showing you the Raven way?
Absolutely, got a utmost respect for Ray and everything he's accomplished throughout his career and off the field as well. So just being able to pick his mind any chance I get, or just being able to hang out with the guy. Times are probably a little tough for him right now with losing his late son, which you're praying for him about that. And yeah, we've gotten together a couple times out at the Pro Bowl and then up in Baltimore as well. And hopefully we're able to connect a little bit more throughout camp, where it's like we can really sit down and once we get to the needs and the other little small things, and that'll be great. So I'm looking forward to that because there's so much experience that guy Ray has and like the mind that he has, like, and there's a reason he played 17 years at middle linebacker, defensive player of the year, the all pros. His resume speaks for itself. So anytime you get a chance to be able to soak up knowledge from a guy like Ray, you take it all in, and I can never be more grateful for that.
Yeah, he oozes football, man. The passion. I got a chance to be around him too at the Maxwell Club. He just loves teaching the game, talking football, and we love talking football with you, Roquan. Appreciate your time. Any other plans this summer? Any foundations you're working with? Anything our listening audience should be on the lookout for before we let you go?
Nothing too crazy. I like to do a lot of work out in the community, but I don't really speak a lot about it. And no more trips planned for this year. I'll get somewhere after the Super Bowl, hopefully next year. Maybe take a nice little trip. So just gonna focus in these last two weeks or so before end up reporting for camp. Trying to be in the best shape I can to make sure we lead the charge this year and take the North back.
Well, outstanding work. Great job with the USO and your affiliation with the NFL out there in Japan. Best of luck this upcoming season. And congratulations on the new contract, Roquan. Look forward to the upcoming season.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great one, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That's Roquan Smith, Baltimore Ravens linebacker via Georgia University. I was RIC in the place to be, Ric Serritella. Keep it locked.